Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Burnt Church. I hope everybody's having a good day, and it's a real pretty day here. I want to ask for prayer for Israel before I go any further with this video. I've been watching the things that's going on over there, and they need our prayer, and I ask any of you that would pray to pray for Israel, please. And don't forget about our map. We've had a lot of new people send a comment and tell us where they was at on the map. And I've put the pins in here for you. So if you're watching this and you're new, just leave us a comment of what state or what country you're in, and we'll be happy to put a pin on this map for you. This is just to see how far out in the world that Burnt Church is reaching. Well, we're working on the barn here today. We've got some metal here. We've got a few different things that's took place here since the last time I showed you. I'll bring you along and I'll show you one thing that we've changed. I had forgot all about this. You can see what color it is here. I had painted everything red on here. And I didn't want everything red, so I don't know why I done it to start with. It was one of those things, I got the cart before the horse, I reckon. But we're trying to change the color here. I'll show you up here what we're doing. The trim, that's all I'm going to paint white. I've just got to go back around through here and change the trim to white before I put the metal on top of the roof. We've got the metal on these sides. The reason I'm painting it now before I put this metal on the top is I can reach over from the sides and do that painting, and I don't have to get up there on ladders. It's a lot easier for me, and it's a lot safer. I don't like being up real high like that on ladders if I can help it. Now, if I can't help it, I'll slide a ladder up there and try to get it done, but we're trying to do what we can the safest way we can. So I'll bring you along. We'll put a little more paint on these, and we'll probably get the metal on the roof in this video. So y'all come along with me and we'll see what we can get done today. We bought this paint at Rural King the other day when we was there on my birthday. So I think it was $12.99 for this gallon. And I've done put one coat over that red. And I believe one more coat's gonna get it covered. So it must be pretty good paint, because red is a real hard color to cover up. The guy at Lowe's the other day, when we bought some paint, he said, I need to shake that paint up. And he shook it up, and he said, if you don't use this within the next week, he said you need to stir it again. But I'm gonna tell you from experience, if they shake that paint up today, and you wait till tomorrow to paint, make sure that you take your paddle and stir the bottom of it up. I don't know what he was thinking, and that may be what they tell them, that shaking is good for a week. But I can tell you from my experience, it is not good for a week. My little table here is about ready to fall down. Make sure you get down in the bottom of that paint and stir it real good. I've told the story on here before, but whenever I was about 19 or 20 and I built my house, I didn't know that you needed to stir paint that well. And I had 5 gallons of paint. And I didn't stir that stuff, and when I got down to the bottom, there was all of my paint and my color down there. I just had to redo the rest of my house. I learned a lesson then. I'll stir paint. If I'm painting all day long, I'll stir it several times a day. So that's a little tip that might help you the next time you're doing any painting. So this is what the white paint's looking like up close. Look there at that worm. I think that's the kind that will sting you. But we're fixing to put another coat over this. I believe this second coat is going to do a pretty good job. That red's hard to cover up. That's looking a lot better now. I believe this second coat's gonna cover it up just fine. We want our metal 7'3". So the way I do it is I mark 7'3" on this side of the metal, and then I'll mark 7'3" on this side. I like to cut my metal upside down. You can see right here, I've got the grooves turned down. It gives you a flatter surface to run on. I always try to wire eye protection, and when I have it, I wire hearing protection, because this stuff will get loud. Now the type of blade we're going to try to cut this with, it used to be a diamond blade, and it was made for cutting metal. But now this blade is pretty old. I've got some other wheels over here we may have to use. This one may be too old and wore out. I've used it for a lot of jobs, and I can't remember how sharp it was the last time I used it. But we'll give it a try here and see what it does. Done a pretty good job. This is one way that you can do your metal to make it just a little bit easier on you. If your lathe is straight, you can measure off from the bottom where your lathe is. Like mine is at 6 inches. Then I got another one at 44 inches. Now I've took my T-square and squared these marks across. Now I've got all my tin sitting here stacked together even on this end. I'm going to pre-drill these holes. Now I don't drill any holes in this rib over here. This is the rib that this one will be lapping over. Now I only drill in this one. The reason for that is because sometimes when you're laying that metal, this hole won't line up with that hole over there exactly. And when you start your screw, it'll jump in that other hole and it'll twist your metal. So I don't drill that rib over there. And I leave one on this side that's not drilled. That's the one I start with. It sticks out over the fly rafter and you don't want holes in it. So in one of these, I won't drill this edge. We got all the metal on it. Some of it here is older metal that I already had, and then some up there on top is newer metal. We got a little bit of two different kinds of metal. It's all galvalume, but some of it's stained and older looking than the rest. As long as it'll keep the rain out. That saved a lot of money reusing our old metal that we already had. And I mean, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to keep the rain out. Well, if you've made it to here, we're almost at the end of this video. For all of you that has stuck around here to the end, I'll show you a little bit more around the barn, and I'll show you what our next project or our next video is going to be about. Unless something happens, our next video is going to be about putting the stairs up here. Because we've been using that ladder to get up here in the barn, and that's getting old. My knees is getting where they're sore. But here's a little better look at the barn everybody else hadn't really got to see. You can see that white up there. It's looking all right. That was 2 coats on that, and it covered the red up pretty good. But this here is where our steps is going to be. When we go in the barn right here, we'll go down the hall. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have a wall right here with a door that goes in here where the steps is going to be. But our steps is going to be in this room right here. You can kind of see here how I've got this drawed. Our steps is going to go up right here to a landing, and then they're going to turn and go out this way up into the 2nd floor. Maybe it'll make more sense whenever I get a little bit of the woodwork done here. But that's what the next video should be about, unless something happens. I've got the material already sawed out here at the sawmill to build these out of. Right now I'm probably fixing to dig a post hole or 2 here for our landing to land on. And that way we won't have to be climbing that ladder anymore, because I've about wore my knees out building this thing, climbing up and down that ladder. But that's about it on this video. And I thank y'all for watching. I pray God blesses you, and I'll see you in the next one.